Boy, we got so much to get into and not too much time. Man. So, I guess let's get started with the NBA Finals because it is front stage. It is the main event these days. That means we're nearing the end of basketball season, but nevertheless, the Denver Nuggets ended up winning 109-94 last night. Boy. And Jokic, he really lets people know that he is him. He really do. All right, so for starters, Jokic, he had a pedestrian 32 points, 21 rebounds, 10 assists. And then Jamal Murray had a mediocre 34 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. So just so you know, this is the first time, I think in playoff history, if I'm not mistaken, that a pair of teammates had a 30-point triple-double in the same game. So, I mean, of course, Jokic is not too surprising anymore, but, Jamal Murray to come up with a triple-double as well with 34 points is pretty insane. So, the thing is, in this game here, Denver responded to them not having enough energy in game 2. They came out and displayed that energy right away. Like Jamal Murray, he came out, on fire to start the game as, the Heat was coming out with a lot of energy. Jamal Murray was matching that energy, was matching the point total. And then all of a sudden, Jokic started getting involved. And it was just basically a two-man show the whole time. I mean, they combined for 66 points. Aaron Gordon only gave you 11. Christian Brown off the bench gave you 15. That was it. Everyone else was super pedestrian. Michael Porter Jr. only had 2 points. He was disengaged. Bruce Brown came off the bench with 5. Jeff Green only had 4. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope only had 6. And that was enough for them to win by 15. Yeah, so if I'm the Miami Heat, I mean, I got to figure something out here. I really do. Because, yeah, Jimmy came to play. He got you 28, and Bam was 22 and 17. I mean, that's impressive, but, where's everybody else? Kevin Love only gave you 6. Vincent had a bad night. 2 of 10 from the field, 7 points. Strus was looking like game 1 again. 1 of 7 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. I mean, Duncan Robinson gave you 9, 3 of 6. I mean, not bad, but he only played 14 minutes. Caleb Martin, who's been the unsung hero for this team, he only had 10 points, but he played 32 minutes. And Kyle Lowry only gave you 9 and 30 minutes. So yeah. The Heat has to play with more urgency, more consistency. The high level of energy has to be there at all times for a 448. I mean, we know teams that has played the Heat, they have to play a 448 against Miami in order for them to, win games. Because it could be 3 minutes left in the game and Miami could be down 10, and then all of a sudden Miami could be up 1 with like 5 seconds left. I mean, that can happen. So Miami has to reciprocate that. Because they're going against something that is, difficult. That is a deity. That is, something that's like unmatched. You're not going to match it talent-wise. I mean, but at the same time, I guess as far as the Heat, they haven't been the most talented team at all in this playoffs, but yet here they are in the NBA Finals. So that's when intangibles has to take over for the Heat. That's the area to where Miami has to be dominant in, is intangibles. Effort, heart, hustle, determination, motivation, all of that. All of that. And Jimmy Butler is the ringleader for that. They follow him. He embodies that. If you know his upbringing, or how he was homeless at 13, had to live with a friend, went to a JUCO, and then went to Marquette, drafted by the Bulls, traded to Minnesota, traded to Philly. They chose Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons over him, and look where we are now. This man was counted out his whole life. So he has that determination. It's just more so, can everyone else have that same level of energy here? The effort. The underdog mentality. Because that's the only way you're going to win this series. Because as you see, it could be Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic the whole game. And it could be 2-on-5 and they still win. So yeah, for the Heat, you lost home court advantage. Denver took it back. In order for you to extend this series, you have to win Game 4 Friday. Otherwise, it's a wrap in 5. Plain and simple. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, let's get into some other news really quick. So Chris Paul's future and the Phoenix Suns, as we know it, their future is in limbo. So initially there was a report that he was released, which is not the case yet. But the Suns, they had their golden opportunity a couple years ago when they was in the finals against the Milwaukee Bucks. And, Giannis happened. The rest is history. This past season they traded for Kevin Durant at the trade deadline. And, KD got hurt. They didn't really have too many games together. They lost a lot of pieces, including Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. They basically lost their depth. It was top heavy. And when they played Denver, it was basically Jokic and Murray versus Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Chris Paul got hurt. DeAndre Ayton has been missing since. I haven't seen DeAndre Ayton. I don't think the Phoenix Suns or the Phoenix Arizona has seen DeAndre Ayton since that series. For all I know, DeAndre Ayton could be on next week's edition of the Milk Carton, because that man is still missing. But anyway, Phoenix has decisions to make. They got, I think, towards the end of this month to decide if they want to, guarantee the, partially guaranteed contract to Chris Paul. But more than likely, they're going to end up trading or releasing him. They're going to probably end up trading DeAndre Ayton, reshape the whole roster. You still got Durant, you still got Booker, but they need some depth. They need somebody that's actually going to, be there. Somebody that can actually stay on the floor. And if they're on the floor, actually somebody that, can be productive and not disappear. Not become a mirage out there. So yeah, I am very curious to see what the Phoenix Suns are going to do this off season. I mean, they have assets. They still have assets. It's just in terms of bigger names and bigger contracts. So we will see what will occur there. So pivoting over to football. So just so you know, as we know about, every year, Madden, the football game, and that's a game that I definitely grew up on, all the way back from Super Nintendo to PlayStation, Xbox, yada, yada, yada. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills quarterback, is going to be on the cover this year, and man, so they got a standard edition and I guess deluxe edition or whatnot, but man, like, that cover looks so freaking dope. That's a hard looking cover. That is cold blooded. Whatever adjective you want to use, man. And so it's getting me hyped. And Josh Allen, entering last year, there was people that thought that he was the best quarterback in the league entering last season. Because as we remember, the way that their season ended before last season was, the Bills took the lead against the Kansas City Chiefs with 13 seconds left, and then, Travis Kelce happened, and they went into overtime, and Kansas City ends up winning. But we saw Josh Allen, I guess, win that game until that happened. Josh Allen, upside is phenomenal. His stat line's a lot of times phenomenal. His stature is ridiculous. But last season itself, I mean, it looked like he slightly took a step back, and that's just more so turning over the football in the red zone. That was the Achilles heel. And it has been for a couple of years now. But the notion of him being the best quarterback in the league, I think, we pumped the brakes on that because we saw what Mahomes did last season without Tyreek Hill. We saw them go all the way. So yeah, as far as Josh Allen here, I still believe he is a top 5 quarterback right now. But I need him to put the Buffalo Bills on his back this season and get it done. If we really think that Josh Allen is him and is that guy, and I do believe he is, but when they get to the playoffs, it's like you just got to get it done. Because at a certain point, we gonna get to the crossroads and say, yeah, Josh Allen, he was sensational talent. He put up all these numbers. He was a fantasy football superstar. But he could never get over the hump. He could never get through Patrick Mahomes, or he could never get by Joe Burrow. He just couldn't get it done. He just lived in an era to where it was a couple more teams and quarterbacks that were just greater. That's the category he's probably about to fall in if something doesn't change. I mean, the Bills are rumored to be interested in DeAndre Hopkins. If they was to get him, ooh-wee. The Bills are also rumored to be interested in Dalvin Cook. If and when he becomes available, ooh-wee. They just signed Leonard Floyd, pass rusher. Von Miller should be coming back. And those two won a Super Bowl together with the Rams a couple of years ago. I mean, the pieces are definitely there. And if they still add on top of what they got, I mean, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous over there. But at the end of the day, it's all going to come back on Josh Allen. Point blank, period. Can he limit the turnovers in the red zone? Can he manage the game when he needs to manage the game and take over the game when he needs to take over the game? Can he be more consistent? That is it. If he is, then hey, maybe the Bills finally win a championship. Finally win a Super Bowl. We don't have to talk about them being a team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls in the early 90s and lose all of them. So, we'll see what happens there. All right, couple more things. So, we're going to move on to football, but we're talking about soccer here real swift. And the main reason why we're talking about soccer because arguably the best player in the world, Lionel Messi, and probably who has been for like the last 15 years, arguably, decided to take his talents to South Beach and join Inter Miami for Major League Soccer here in the United States. Now, as we know, soccer players get paid a bag on top of a bag. And Messi has spent a majority of his career at Barcelona. I think recently he was with Paris Saint-Germain, which is PSG in France there. He was being offered, money to go to Saudi Arabia, and, they just paid, I think this guy named Benzema, like over $600 million for like 3 years or something like that. Like, they have money over there. And Barcelona, I think, tried to get him back too, but at the end of the day, he decided to come here to the States. Because I guess, basically, for him, he wants to have control of his own future. Which I don't blame him. He's 35 years old. I mean, and who doesn't want to have control over what they do in their life, right? Like, I want control on everything I do in my life. I don't want to have to be obligated to do something, especially if I don't feel like doing it, but I have to do it anyway, right? So if you have the ability to have control and still get paid and still do what you love, by all means, do it. Point blank and simple. And last but not least, I'm going to leave you all with, words of advice here. Look, if you're going to do something and okay, let me rephrase this. So, there's ways to go about doing things and handling things and being, accountable and, doing your job, blah, 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 blah. But where I'm going with this is, look, if you haven't, played a game, or if you let's say you're often hurt, but you're in the news, for other stuff, or trending on Twitter for other stuff, besides playing basketball right now, and your career so far has been defined by the games that you have missed instead of the games that you played, even though you're a superstar talent, but once again, you are trending for other reasons on Twitter, it's just not a good look. It's just not. So, Zion Williamson, congrats on the kids. But man, I opened up my phone yesterday, and all I see is Zion Williamson this, Zion Williamson that. So I actually go on Twitter myself, and bam, all I see is Mariah Mills going in on this guy. And, I'll let you all, go to Twitter for the details, because it's still there. It is still there. But, man, just know you should be known for doing something that you're supposed to be doing professionally and not, other stuff. So, with that being said, continue to rock with your boy right here on the No Offense Radio, the No Offense Network. Check me out on social media at JGoodWithSports, obviously Twitter, but also Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And continue to rock with your boy with the JGoodWithSports podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. So, once again, Saturday, the early morning sports talk podcast with my bros Brandon and Ian as we discuss the NBA Finals and maybe anything else in the sports world. Maybe we might get more into Zion here. But anyway, You all have a good one. Be blessed. Be safe. Get to the money. But until next time, peace.